Hello everyone and welcome back to my YNR CBS Spoiler Today channel. And trust me when I say this, what is coming up on The Young and the Restless is going to leave you absolutely speechless. Because the layers of deception, heartbreak and raw emotional devastation are unlike anything we have seen in a long time. Please hit the subscribe button right now and give this video a thumbs up because we are going to deep into every single detail of what is about to go down in Genoa City. And you do not want to miss 1 second of this. We are entering one of the most disturbing and emotionally charged storylines The Young and the Restless has served up in years. Matt Clark is not just seeking revenge against Nick Newman, he is orchestrating a slow, calculated psychological demolition. Nick has been kidnapped, drugged, restrained and is now being deliberately kept in a fog of addiction. Not to kill him quickly, but to strip him of everything that makes him who he is. Meanwhile, Adam Newman is scrambling to connect the dots, and his confrontation with Riza Thomson explodes into something none of us saw coming. Back in Genoa City, the Abbott and Newman families are fracturing under the weight of Victor's pride, Diane's heartbreak and Phyllis' desperate attempt to reclaim her son's love, and somewhere in the middle of all of it, Tessa is quietly making a sacrifice that reminds us what real love actually looks like. The episode is layered, it is intense, and every single of storyline fits into one central, terrifying truth. Genoa City is on the brink of something it may not come back from the same way. Let us start right where the darkness lives. In that dim, suffocating storage room where Nick Newman is being held captive by Matt Clark. If you have been following the story, you already knew Matt had something sinister up his sleeve. But nothing could have fully prepared you for just how deeply personal and twisted his plan actually is. When Matt pulls the bag off Nick's head, there is no dramatic monologue of surprise. Instead, Matt is calm, almost gleeful, and that calm is somehow far more chilling than any outburst could ever be. He taunts Nick with the kind of precision that only someone who has been planning this for a very long time could manage. He tells Nick that he was dumb enough to walk straight into the trap, and then he drops the bombshell. Adam was used as the bait. Think about that for a second. Matt did not just target Nick. He used Nick's own brother, his own complicated relationship with Adam, to lure him into this nightmare. That is not just revenge, that is a masterclass in psychological manipulation. And it is absolutely devastating to process. But it gets worse because when Nick asks the natural question whether Matt intends to kill him, Matt's answer is somehow more horrifying than a simple yes. Matt says he is going to help him, and he says it with that kind of sarcastic, bone-chilling sincerity that makes your skin crawl. Because you immediately understand what kind of help he is talking about. He is not going to let Nick die. He is going to keep him alive, keep him supplied with pills, and let addiction do the destroying for him. He is going to take Nick, as he puts it himself, to the basement below rock bottom. Imagine how Nick felt hearing those words. Imagine sitting there restrained, disoriented, already feeling the effects of whatever substances have been moving through his system, and hearing a man calmly tell you that his goal is to render you so broken, so consumed that you can no longer function as a father, a brother, a protector. Matt does not want Nick's life. He wants to take everything that makes Nick's life worth living. He specifically names Noah Newman, Sienna Buckle, and Sharon Newman as the people he intends to go after once Nick is too far gone to stop him. That is the cruelest part of this entire scheme. Nick's worst nightmare has nothing to do with his own suffering. It is the thought of being unable to protect the people he loves most. And Matt knows that. He is weaponizing Nick's love against him. And it is working. Nick struggles against the restraints, and you can feel the desperation in that image. A strong, capable man reduced to fighting against physical bindings while his mind fights an equally consuming battle from the inside. Matt watches all of it with an expression of complete control. reiterating that the power in that room belongs entirely to him. And then he delivers his final chilling promise. He is going to make sure Nick is too rake and vested to do anything when Matt comes for the people he loves most. This is not revenge, this is obliteration, and the scariest part, the plan is already working. Now let us shift over to Adam Newman, because his side of the story is every bit as explosive, even if it plays out in a very different kind of room. After Nick's phone cuts off and Adam cannot reach him, Adam wastes zero time spiraling into action. He gets Riza Thomson's suit door open when she returns. At the moment he is inside, questions start pouring out of him. Desperate, urgent, accusatory questions about Nick, about Matt Clark, about anyone or anything that might explain what is happening. And when Riza says she does not recognize the name Matt Clark, Adam shifts. He tries Mitch Buckle, and that is when everything changes. Riza's face shifts. She knows that name, that is her partner, or rather, who her partner was before he reinvented himself as Ronnie. Adam explains Matt's vendetta against Nick and Sharon. And as the full picture comes into focus for Riza, you can see the fury building. She realizes she was brought back into dangerous world under completely false pretenses. She was not a partner, she was a piece in Matt's game, and she is furious. I can't believe that moment. She hauls off and slaps Adam, just flat out slaps him, and honestly, you understand it completely. Even while you are shocked by it because her rage is not irrational. It is the explosion of someone who has just realized they were used as a pawn in a much larger, much darker scheme than they ever agreed to be part of. When she nearly does it again and Adam stops here, there is this electric tension in the room. Two people who fundamentally do not trust each other, who are both angry, both scared, and both aware that they might be the only shot Nick has at surviving this. What makes this partnership so compelling and so uncomfortable to watch is that there is no warmth in it. There is no moment where they look at each other and decide to be a team. It is pure necessity gluing them together, and the mistrust crackles between every single word they exchange. But Riza's knowledge of Mitch Buckle's history becomes invaluable almost immediately. Her memories, her connections, her understanding of how this man operated, it starts unlocking pieces of the puzzle that Adam could never have found alone, and as those pieces come together, it becomes horrifyingly clear that what Matt has done here was not improvised. This was a meticulously constructed operation, likely set in motion long before anyone in Genoa City even noticed something was wrong. The scope of it is staggering, and it forces Adam to sit with a truth he probably does not want to face. His own actions may have contributed to Nick being in that room right now. That guilt is not just a footnote, it is a live wire running through every decision Adam makes going forward. Now let us talk about Victor Newman, because the chaos in Genoa City is not limited to the world of kidnapping and drug rings. When Kyle Abbott confronts Victor over the yacht ordeal involving Jack Abbott, he does not hold anything back. Kyle is angry, he is hurt, and he says what he means. He calls Victor a coward, and Victor, being Victor, does not flinch, does not apologize, does not acknowledge any wrongdoing whatsoever. He simply tells Kyle to watch his language. That response, so dismissive, so utterly unrepentant, says everything about where Victor's head is. He genuinely believes his choices are justified, and no amount of emotional fallout from the people around him is going to crack that conviction. When Nicky Newman steps in and tries to hold Victor's accountable, it does not soften even for her. He fumes, he accuses her of being a backstabber, and he doubles down on his own narrative. And Nikki, a woman who has stood by this man through decades of impossible choices, is visibly shaken. You can see the delusion meant in the way this plays out. This is not just a marital spat. This is a woman beginning to seriously question whether loyalty to Victor has cost her more than she has ever been willing to admit out loud. Over at Society, Michael Baldwin sits down with Diane Jenkins about and very quickly realizes the depth of what she is going through. Diane explains the entire yacht disaster. She places blame on Victor, and then she turns that frustration onto Michael for continuing to stand by a man who has caused this much damage to her family. Michael tries to nudge her toward forgiveness, and you have to give him credit for even attempting it, because Diane is operating on a level of heartbreak and fury that forgiveness that feels completely unreachable from. Michael genuinely hates what she's going through. You can tell he wants to fix it, but the pain Diane is carrying runs too deep for a gentle nudge, and she is not anywhere close to ready to let it go. And honestly, can you blame her? The man she loves left, the family she had built is shattered, and the person most responsible for it will not acknowledge a single consequences of his actions. When Kyle makes it back home and sits down with Tracy about, the weight of everything comes spilling out. He vents about Victor, he worries about Diane and Tracy. Steady, grounded Tracy holds space for all of it. But even she cannot offer certainty. There is a very real fear in that conversation that Diane may not be able to find her way back from this. And Kyle is clearly wrestling with what that means for his family moving forward. At Crimson Lights, Tessa Porter makes what might be one of the quietest but most emotionally resonant decisions of the episode. She tells Daniel Ramalotti Jr. that she is not going to Barcelona, she is staying in Genoa City. Not because of logistics, not because of scheduling, but because she loves Maria Copeland, and she needs to be close if Maria needs her. I can't believe how much that moment hits you, because in the middle of all this grand theatrical destruction playing out across Genoa City, here is Tessa making a small, private, completely selfless choice rooted entirely in love. Daniel understands completely, and the hug they share feels like a brief exhale in an otherwise breathless episode. But the peace does not last, because Phyllis Summers walks in, and if there is one person in Genoa City who consistently struggles to read a room, it is Phyllis. She immediately begins grilling Daniel about his connection to Tessa, and when Daniel tells her it is none of her business, she pivots to offering him a division at Summers' conglomerate. Daniel turns her down flat. His reasoning is clear and completely uncompromising. Until Newman Enterprise is back with its rightful owners, there is simply nothing for them to talk about. And on Monday's episode, Phyllis' conversation with Lauren Fenmore Baldwin brings us to what might be a turning point. Phyllis begins to absorb the weight of something she has probably been avoiding. She may never get her son back unless she gives up Newman Enterprises. And for Phyllis, that is not just a professional decision. That is an identity crisis. Giving that up means admitting she went too far. It means prioritizing Daniel over power, and the question that hangs in the air is whether she loves her son enough to actually do it. What is happening in this storyline is something far bigger than any single character's arc. Matt Clark's plan to use Nick Newman's addiction as a weapon is not just villainous. It is a mirror held up to one of the most uncomfortable truths this show has ever explored. Addiction is not a plot device here. It is being portrayed as something a real enemy can identify, exploit, and amplify. Matt did not create Nick's struggle with pills, he found it, he fed it, and now he is using it as a slow-acting poison, one that destroys not from the outside, but from within Nick himself. The people who love Nick are still out there, still searching, still fighting. But Nick is the one doing the most damage to himself right now. even if he has no choice in the matter. That's the most heartbreaking layer of this entire scenario. Adam's guilt adds an entirely different dimension to the story. If his own choices, his own actions contributed to getting Nick into that room, then whatever rescue comes next is not going to feel clean. There will be something unresolved between these brothers on the other side of this. And given how complicated their relationship already is, adding this layer of complicity could reshape it permanently. Victor's complete refusal to take responsibility is not just a character beat. It is a structural crack forming at the very foundation of the Newman family. Nikki's disillusionment, Kyle's fury, Jack's quiet devastation, Diane's heartbreak, all of it flows directly from Victor's choices. And yet Victor stands at the center of it all, immovable. The damage being done to this relationship is not temporary. Some of these fractures are going to leave permanent marks. And Philly, standing at the edge of what might be the most important decision of her life, represents something every viewer can connect with. The moment when you have to choose between who you are and who you love, between what you have built and what really matters, that crossroads is coming. And when she reaches it, it is going to define everything. And this is where everything stops feeling like a game and starts feeling dangerously real. Because what Matt is doing to Nick isn't just revenge. It's slow destruction, and the scariest part is it's working. He can feel Nick slipping, not all at once but piece by piece, and honestly, that's what makes this so hard to watch. Because it's not loud, it's quiet, it's creeping, and it feels almost impossible to stop. And here's my take: Adam may be the only one who can fix this, but he might also be the reason it got this far. And that guilt, it could either push him to save Nick or completely destroy his judgment when it matters most. At the same time, look at what's happening across Genoa City. Families are breaking, trust is fading, and every decision starting to feel like it comes with a price. Victor won't bend, Phyllis won't let go, and Nick, he may not even be in a position to fight back anymore. So the real question is, who is going to crack first, and what happens when they do? Can Nick find even a small piece of strength before it's too late? Or has Matt already taken him past the point of no return? And what about Adam? Will he become the hero of the story or the final piece in Matt's twisted plan? Looking ahead, I have a feeling the rescue won't come clean. Even if Nick gets out, he won't come back the same, and that could change everything. Because sometimes surviving isn't the victory, sometimes it's just the beginning of something even darker. Let me know what you think. Do you still believe Nick can fight his way back, or is this the moment that changes him forever? If this episode does not have you gripping the edge of your seat, I honestly do not know what will. This is the young and the restless operating at its most emotional ruthless, using love as a weapon, using addiction as a tool of destruction, and using family loyalty as the very thing that makes every blow land harder. Nick's captivity is not just a thriller plot, it is a character level tragedy unfolding in real time. Adam's desperate, guilt-ridden race to find his brother is one of the most complicated emotional journeys we have watched him take in years. And across Genoa City, in the ballrooms and coffee shops, living rooms, the quieter devastations are playing out with just as much weight. Diane crying through her heartbreak, Victor refusing to feel a single consequence, Tessa choosing love over adventure, and Phyllis standing at the edge of everything she has built, wondering if it was ever really worth it. So tell me in the comments, do you think Nick is strong enough to hold on until Adam finds him? Do you think Adam will actually be able to pull this off, or will his guilt and past choices become the very thing that slows him down when it matters most? And what about Phyllis? Is she really about to make the sacrifice that could bring Daniel back to her? Or will her ambition win again? Drop all your thoughts below because this community is the best part of this channel and I read every single comment. If you are not already subscribed to the YNR CBS Spoiler Today channel, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on your notifications so you never miss a single update. And please give this video a thumbs up. It means the world and it helps more when our fans find their way here. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one.